ITNation Connect Global 2025. What an event. The largest ITNation of all time, the most attended. I have not personally missed an ITNation since 2007, and that was 100 of us in Tampa. Now it's grown to over 4,000 in Orlando. Incredible breakout sessions. I had the great opportunity to have a speaking session on how MSPs and businesses can grow through media and podcasting. Podcasters Row was the greatest we've ever seen at an event yet. There were studios set out for 8 podcasters, including myself, and the events at night, the concert, the Universal Studios, the vendor hall was incredible, the partner pavilion, I believe it's called. The vendors were fantastic. I was also able to attend the initiation, the first timers. Brad Shaw always invites me to that, and I really enjoy that. Wonderful event. I had the great fortune of having 13 incredible conversations with some incredible guests. Lawrence Christiana, I've been talking with Lawrence for so long, and we finally got together. Our schedules were such where I actually recorded this in my hotel room the day before. I made a makeshift studio, but Lawrence and I talked for a long time. Incredible insight. Really appreciate Lawrence's perspective, and I look forward to working with him in the future. Stephen Yu, I've known for many years. Their adaptive catalog, the puzzle mindset from chessboards to boardrooms. Always enjoy talking to Stephen. Everything's a puzzle, and he just figures out how to bring it all together. Blake Myers, first time I met Blake there at BlueMirror, one of my favorite companies to work with. Blake is a very interesting young man. 8 seconds of chaos when bull riding taught a cybersecurity pro. He's got some other interests that are very interesting. Kate Schlarf, which I've had the great fortune of knowing now for a couple of years there. Of course, at Movila, again, one of my favorites. Kate and her team had a great booth there, do incredible project management work to help MSPs. I was so glad to get into the cow outfit and to walk around the vendor hall. Great talking with Kate. Mike DePalma, which I've known for a very long time when he was at Datto, Kaseya, now of course at Open Text, building stronger channel partnerships with Mike DePalma. Always great talking with Mike. Christina Klein, my first time talking with Christina there at Landsweeper. Fascinating discussion from DIY remodels to data mastery. I look forward to work with Christina in the future. Wonderful talking with her. MJ Schuer, a fellow New Englander I've known for, 15 plus years. Now at GTIA, we talked about the separation of CompTIA and GTIA and what he does there, how it helps MSPs. Caroline April, another person at GTIA who I didn't know before this, a true journalist that has come over and is now helping GTIA and MSPs. Rick Murphy from Cogent, known Rick for a while, has gone through an incredible transformation himself, but helping MSPs in the M&A space. Christina Carretero. I've known Christina for, 3 or 4 years now. An absolute pleasure. Smart, driven, love to work with. We have a great discussion on what she's doing now there at Arctic Wolf, and have some insight on some students exchange students that she takes in. Really great conversation with Christina. And last, Caroline Goals. Oh my goodness. I've known Caroline since she was at PAX 8. She was at Microsoft before that. Great insight. Really. When I saw her there, I had to take a double take. I said, hey, come be on the podcast, please. And I'm so glad she accepted. Wonderful time there. ITNation 2025 was waiting all year for it, and it seemed to go by in a second. Thanks for watching and listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word, discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission, how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision, growth through learning from others. Okay, so you're from DFW and now you're in Phoenix. So you're a bull rider?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how'd you get into bull riding, Blake?
Me and some friends maybe stupidly entered into a little rodeo that we found.
What age?
I'd say 22.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And how old are you now?
26.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
No experience.
None.
In this fast-paced MSP landscape, how do you stay ahead? Introducing MSPinfluencer.com, your ultimate hub for MSP news, insights, and community connection powered by Forza Dash. More than 75,000 MSPs subscribe to our MSP Influencer Pulse weekly newsletter, staying informed and ahead of industry trends. Tune in to emerging podcasts from Joey Pinz and leading MSP voices, offering essential tips, powerful insights, and success stories. Explore our multi-authored blogs, crafted specifically for MSP leaders, delivering fresh perspectives and actionable strategies. Celebrate excellence with the industry-leading Forza MSP Influencer Awards, recognizing innovation, leadership, and impact in the MSP community. Join thousands of MSP professionals who trust MSPinfluencer.com to grow their business and expand their networks. MSPinfluencer.com, where today's MSP leaders connect, collaborate, and conquer, all powered by the Forza platform, helping MSP vendors work effectively with MSPs and helping MSPs grow. You get on the bull, they rope your hand down.
Yeah.
You wearing a helmet?
Yep, wearing a helmet. Yeah, they rope your hand down, and that's when it kind of clicks and you realize, I'm on a massive bull right now, and you look down, the bull's pissed off, ready to go. You know, they get so much energy in there, and all you have to do next is nod your head, which is simple. That takes a lot of effort. That's not easy to do, yeah.
And do you remember the name of the bull?
And the first one I rode was Black Frost. But I've got, a bunch of stories on two-step and knockout and twister and pain and yeah.
So you nod your head and what happens, Blake? They open the gate.
They open the gate, and that's about all you can ever really remember. People ask me all the time, like, well, what's it like? You don't remember.
Because you get concussed?
That's maybe a third of the rides. Yeah, you're going to hit your head, and you're going to forget everything for a few minutes before that.
God.
But as soon as you nod your head, it's just so chaotic, and from an outside point of view, it doesn't look like it's that chaotic, but just imagine someone shaking your head for 8 seconds. Jesus. You can't see anything. It's all a blur. You don't know where you're at. It's funny. And then all of a sudden, you hit the sand, you hit the dirt, you maybe taste a little bit of blood in your mouth sometimes, and that's how you know you've probably survived.
But do the ropes loosen or you let go?
Yeah, so you kind of tie it around your hand, and it's a little bit risky because basically, if you don't have enough grip strength, your hand will come out.
Right.
So you really tie your hand tight around there, and the risk with that is that you can get hung up. It's called getting hung up, and that's where you are off of the bull, but your hand is still stuck in there, and the bull is running around the arena, and you're in. Yeah, you're going for a ride basically. And it's probably the most scary, most dangerous position you could possibly be in. Yeah.
Wow. And then is it 8 seconds?
8 seconds.
And so in your mind, you're counting 8 and then you let go?
Yep, yeah. Yeah, as soon as you hit 8, it gets really loud. You'll hear a bunch of horns. Everyone starts screaming.
They'll buzz you.
Yeah, so they buzz you, and usually it's not really a willing process to get off. Usually you're pretty much in the air, hopping off, just barely hanging on by that 8-second mark anyways.
Wow.
Yeah.
Longest 8 seconds in sports, maybe.
It feels like it's a couple minutes.
And so then you have all the, I'm going to use the word clown, but you have all the other people trying to misdirect the bull in another direction.
Yep. Yeah, those are the bullfighters that are literally responsible for saving my life because once you hit that dirt, you're you're a quarter of the time you're concussed. Like you're slow to get up. Excuse me. And so you don't know where you're at. You know, you're off balance. You're on the ground. Takes you a second to get up, and that bull is coming for you.
Wow.
And so it's up to those bullfighters to save your ass.
And so, what makes the great bull riders great?
I'd say they're a little bit crazy.
Right.
Like, I'm back behind the chutes. You hear the funniest things. These people, a lot of them will say the same quote. They'll all say, "I'm ready to die tonight," and it's like, what? What? But that would be one thing that they need the money, and they know this is a jackpot night, so they're going to get a couple thousand if they just can hold on for a few seconds. They don't want to have to go, work a manual labor job for the next week. So it's easier just to hang on for 8 seconds, and they're willing to quite literally get injured for it.
Wow.
So it takes a little bit of craziness. Yeah, it's a mental thing. I mean, it takes physical strength, but.
And is there a way to kind of ride the bull to not endure the punishment as much?
Yeah, it's weird. I thought when I started, it would just be like a strength thing, and you can kind of out-strengthen this bull. I quickly realized that is not the case. It's more of a dance than anything. So your partner takes a step backwards, you need to follow. You need to make a move for every time the bull moves. So the bull takes a left and turn back in. You got to turn back in with it. Wow. Otherwise, you're going off the right. So
wow. And there's no saddle, right?
No saddle. Yeah. Yeah, you're just on the bull's back, and it's a lot more slippery than you would think. Like, it's not like sitting in a chair or whatsoever. Slippery.
And after the event, what did they do with the bull? What's the bull maintenance like? I mean, because this is kind of under criticism, right?
Yeah. No. So the bulls afterwards, they always go straight back over to the pasture. All the bulls are very, very well taken care of. They're bred to buck, especially at these good rodeos. The equivalent would be like a golden retriever being bred to swim and play fetch with a tennis ball.
Interesting.
And so you bring out a tennis ball or even hint that you're about to go play fetch with your dog. It's the equivalent to these bulls, getting excited for a Friday night rodeo. And so they're very well taken care of, and a lot of them, believe it or not, are very expensive.
Really?
Some of those best buckers, if they can go put on a good show, they can bring the rodeo, quite literally hundreds of thousands.
Wow.
And then their genetics, you want to breed those bulls, and so they can be worth millions, and so you want to keep them really healthy and happy. So those bulls are all well taken care of.
And then in Spain, they have the running of the bulls, or those different types of bulls?
A little bit, yeah. Those ones are a little bit smaller than a lot of the rodeo ones.
Interesting.
However, they do have, those ones are not bred to buck. They're bred for a specific horn type. So their horns are definitely pointy. They don't dull those horns, and their horns are pointed forward. So that's how you see, those people get gored and stuff like that.
Whew.
Yeah.
I had a friend who was a Texas A&M alum, so I got to go to Kyle Field and witness the sports. That was amazing. So you were a powerlifter there?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
How'd you get into powerlifting?
I kind of snuck in, to be honest with you. At Texas A&M, all these guys are, I think the saying is like corn-fed, but a bunch of big guys, bunch of big dudes, and everyone, they all go, they've got a massive rec center there, so everyone's trying to lift heavy, and the goal for every college-age male there is to make it on the powerlifting team.
Really?
Everyone wants to bench the most, deadlift the most, right? And so anyways, I kind of snuck on. I would say...
How did you sneak on?
Yeah, right.
What that means?
Hilarious. I jokingly went and coached a friend who made it to the national powerlifting meet. And so you need it's called a handler, not necessarily a coach.
I see.
And he didn't have one, so I volunteered to go up with him, kind of just as a fun thing. But he also needs a handler to get in. And so we went up to Columbus, Ohio for the national powerlifting meet. And that is where I ran into the Texas A&M powerlifting team, because they were up there too. And so they maybe wrongly assumed that I was competing or that I knew what I was doing there. So anyways, I stayed connected with all those guys, and a few months later they had tryouts, and they already knew my name, knew my face, and I kind of faked it till I made it.
Really?
Right?
But you still had to lift weights.
Still had to lift weights.
Right.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and so you still had to be strong. Don't get me wrong there. The networking got me into the tryout.
I say.
And then once I'm in the tryout, which is already half the battle, from there, one of my strengths, funny enough, is it's a weight class sport. So one of my strengths was I was able to really cut weight significantly.
Really?
So I'm competing in the very lightweight bracket, like the 140 to 150 pound bracket.
Whoa.
And so by being able to cut weight like that, you don't have to be as strong as the 190 pound guys or the 220 pound guys. So that right there is basically my ticket to success. Just doing a very, very hard water cut, fasting, everything like that.
And your specific weightlifting exercise is what? Is it
squat, bench,
squatting.
deadlift? Yeah.
Squat, bench, deadlift.
Yeah.
So squatting, you're not doing a back squat.
Yep. Yes, sir. Yeah. Big barbell on your back. Yeah, and so you unrack it out of the racks. You got a bunch of squatters
so
there.
You don't have to clean
spotters there. Nope. Yeah, just straight on your back, and all you're doing is sitting down. Your butt has to break parallel, so you kind of have to do, you fully have to sit down,
right,
and then you just got to sit back up with it. Easier said than done.
Wow.
And not get crushed.
And your maximum weight?
I did maybe 440 outside of a meet, but when we're talking like strict meet requirements, you got to be very strict with hitting depth, it's called, but I did 405.
Wow. What if discipline wasn't about punishment, but about unlocking your best self? I spent 2.5 years writing Discipline for Greatness because discipline changed my life. And I know it can change yours too. This isn't theory. Inside, you'll find real, practical steps you can use immediately to focus better, build stronger habits, reduce stress, accomplish your goals, and bring more balance to your life. Whether you're trying to get healthier, improve your career, or simply feel more control, this book gives you the framework. Start today. Grab your copy of Discipline for Greatness at joeypinz.com/book. Thank you. I remember the first time I started squatting, and I could have sworn I was getting low, and my instructor's like, you're this far. You're this far. I said, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then eventually you just learn you got to break parallel.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, you got to kind of bump on a seat or something. Yeah.
And not get folded over and crushed by that heavy weight.
Do you still do it now?
A little bit, yeah. I still stay in the gym, pretty frequently, but much more of like a stress relief kind of thing than me competing, because I've got a very competitive personality. So when I'm trying to compete, I'm all in. You know, there's no like healthy balance between this and family and work, right? So I try to keep it more casual nowadays, and also saves me some injuries. Yeah.
And so do you still bull ride?
Yep. Yeah. Still bull ride.
Really?
I know. Yeah.
Why?
I need to stop that. Yeah.
Are you getting paid for it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you are.
Honestly, that right there is probably part of the reason why I keep doing it. Once you get good enough, you go out there, and 8 seconds, you get maybe $1,200, $1,500. Yeah.
So you're a professional bull rider.
Yeah. I say semi-professional because a lot of people will conflate a professional bull rider with the PBR riders, and I'm not quite there yet.
I see.
And I honestly, I hope to never be there.
Right.
I'm not. I would like to keep it a little bit more casual.
Right.
So once a week, give or take, Friday night, Saturday night, I'll go down and yeah.
Your hobbies are endlessly fascinating, Blake, because you have the largest aquarium in North America?
Yeah, I would say that's more of an unofficial title, but yes, I do have a massive, it's 10 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet fish tank, yeah. 10
feet by 3 feet by 3 feet.
And then it's on a large stand, which is the same exact dimensions, so you can kind of like double that in a way. But if you're looking at like a wall, I mean, it takes up the entire wall.
Wow.
You walk into my house, And it's funny to see, like, my guests' reactions as they walk in. You make it through the hallway, you walk into the living room, and boom, right in front of you, massive.
3x10.
Yeah.
Do you have kids?
No kids?
I say.
No, I told you I have the largest fish tank in the world. That's where the money goes.
I say. And saltwater, freshwater?
Freshwater, yeah. I specifically keep discus fish. They are.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, they're a very. Most people who would see them for the first time would think they're saltwater because they're just incredibly vibrant and colorful. But in fact, they're freshwater. So.
And you feed them what?
A little bit of everything. One of the things I figured out was to keep them colorful. There's a couple of foods that are like, I don't want to give away the secrets, but
interesting.
But there's a couple of foods that basically they absorb like the chemicals and the nutrients in the food, and so the fish then color up, right? So bloodworms is an example. It turns them like very colorful.
Interesting.
But yeah, a little bit of everything. It's funny.
Well, that's why flamingos are pink because of all
right.
the shrimp,
Yep,
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that is somewhat where I got that from. Was realizing, wait a second, like, okay, maybe there's something to this. And funny enough, flamingos will eat bloodworms. That's part of the reason why, krill and bloodworms. And so that's exactly what I'm feeding my discus a good portion of the time. And so, yeah, my fish tank's massive, but I have a very famous fish tank on social media because the fish are just so beautiful and vibrant,
And did you start with a smaller tank?
Yeah. Back when I lived with my parents, they wouldn't necessarily let me do, 1,000-gallon fish tank. Right? They don't want something about the house getting flooded or something.
Short-sighted.
Yeah. When I'm a teenager, I'm like, you guys are idiots. It's just some water. Like, so what if we flood the house?
What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. No, the second story is fine for a 20,000-gallon, 20,000-pound fish tank. But they were not on board with that. So I said, all right, as soon as I move out, I'm just going to let loose. And that is exactly what I did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you build the tank yourself?
No, I got really lucky, and I found someone, just one in a million, who happened to be selling the fish tank. He had it custom built, and, something just kind of ran into just some incidents with him, and so I was able to take it off his hands for cheap. Then I had this stand custom built from a local carpenter, which was a couple month process, but very important. That's how you don't flood the house, and it has to be able to support so much weight.
Right.
So next thing you know, everything's said and done, and now my house is half water, I would say.
Wow.
It's half fish tank.
And how many gallons is that?
Yeah, this one's 500. And then I've got some extra filtration. So all in total, about 600 gallons.
And how do you filter that? I mean,
is that... Oh, yeah. But the filtering is funny because that's how you keep these fish really healthy and happy and colorful.
Right.
As soon as they're, not healthy, they lose their color instantly, like overnight. So anyways, some of the funny things I do to filter it is I will use what I call my nuclear reactor. It's a large tub of very, very strong UVC sterilizers.
Whoa.
And so I don't allow guests to open up the cabinet doors because this strong, bright blue light will just immediately blind you.
Whoa.
And if you make direct eye contact with the UVC sterilizers, you will basically sunburn your cornea.
Oh my God.
So I know, it's so funny, but what happens is the water passes through those UV sterilizers and it just kills everything in the water. All bacteria, all germs, all microparasites, ick, you name it. Everything dies instantly. And so I've got the water constantly passing through there. And that right there is, I tell people you'd be able to drink this water. It's just crystal clear.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so it doesn't make a lot of noise? Is that creating that?
Silent. The stand, think a large, maybe, what do they call it? Just a large cabinets. It's built with such thick wood that it's just silent because it's multiple inches thick. So yeah, it's completely silent in there. If you open up the doors, you would hear a little bit of a hum, and I tell people that's just the radiation floating around. But yeah.
Wow. So Mike, we're here at ITNation 2025. It's going to be a great event. What are some of your goals this week?
Well, so I work remote, and one of the issues with that is I have to pretty much interact with all of our customers and partners over Zoom and Microsoft Teams and email. And so one of the goals here is just to go meet all of the people I've been working with over the past 2 years, because we have a close relationship, but I've never shooken their hands, right? So anyways, that would be the number one goal. Let's wine and dine some of these customers that I've been working with. I owe it to them.
Nice.
And so that would be the number one goal. Besides that, hanging out with some coworkers, we went to Top Golf last night.
Oh, nice.
So concert tonight.
That's right, concert tonight.
Universal Studios tomorrow.
Yeah,
so
big
have
week.
fun would be agenda number 2.
Yeah. How does BlueMirror help MSPs?
Yeah. So we give them a cybersecurity solution to use for their clients, specifically called a SIM. So it's a very advanced cybersecurity solution, but one that is required for these clients to be safe. So.
And when I talk to MSPs, Blake, I'm a former MSP, 3 things keep them up at night consistently in the last 4 or 5 years. One is cybersecurity. They're worried about their clients getting attacked.
Yep.
They got to allocate resources, lose money. They're probably going to get fired. They may even get sued.
Yeah.
2 is human capital. They're worried about, their techs,
Yep.
keeping them happy. If they got to replace them, how they're going to add new. Very tough job market. Unemployment in IT in the States, 1% maybe.
Yeah.
And then 3rd is just general growth. They're generally tech-led, don't know how to grow well. PE has poured hundreds of millions of dollars in. Their friends are selling their MSPs. How can I learn to grow? How do you help in those?
Yeah. So the first one, keeping the client safe. Oh yeah, when you sign on a client, you take on some liability, some risk. So it's in both of you guys' best interest to keep them safe. So what our solution would do would be, multiple alerts coming in as soon as a bad actor started messing around anywhere. That could be, impossible travel, or they're trying to, break in using some bad IP addresses, or, you name it. We've got hundreds of different detections. And then after that person, maybe, everything went wrong and they managed to get in, our solution would give you the historical data of what that attacker was able to do.
Wow.
Right? Where did they go? What did they touch? What did they have access to? What did they change? All of that is in those log files, and BlueMirror is going to be able to store all of those log files. So after an attack, you're trying to put out the fire, or you already have put out the fire, you're trying to figure out what was burned and where did the fire start. You would go use BlueMirror to look through all of those logs.
Interesting. So it's right of boom.
Yeah, say that again, sorry.
Right of boom.
Yep, yeah.
So the attack happened, and it comes in and sees what's there. It's very interesting.
Spot on, yeah. In terms of how we help MSPs grow, a lot of clients require this tool, whether it's compliance reasons or cyber insurance reasons. So when an MSP has this specific tool, a SIM, in their back pocket, in their toolkit, it allows them to access a customer base that a good portion of MSPs just can't actually take on, because they would have to, onboard a SIM, and they don't know where to look. The market is very lackluster for SIMs before BlueMirror came around. They're not MSP friendly at all, and that goes into your second point on the tech, the human resources.
Yeah.
Previously, I tell you what, these companies would have to hire somewhere between 10 and 14 security analysts just to maintain and monitor this tool,
Wow.
a SIM. And so BlueMirror came around, and we realized not every MSP has 14 security analysts. They've got 4 IT people and help desk and maybe some sort of security engineer. And so we built a tool that can be can be utilized by someone without the SOC team of 14 people.
So when MSPs are looking for a SIM provider, what questions should they be asking?
Yeah, hidden costs, number 1. It's very, it's a shame, but a majority of the SIM vendors out there are going to do a couple of unfortunate, billing practices. Number 1, they're going to get you surprise bills. Maybe you send in too much data, you're going to get an overage invoice. They're going to bill you, for a noisy firewall that you didn't, was misconfigured. And all of a sudden, that might be a $10,000 bill that you just were not expecting. So that's number 1. The other reason, the other bad part about these billing policies, they will make the pricing model so complicated that you really just can't understand it.
Really?
And so what happens is people get taken advantage of there because, imagine you're buying a car and, okay, they say, all right, $20,000 and you think that's it. But then you've got 12 add-ons that you weren't, accounting for. And all of a sudden that bill comes in a few months. And then you got the window insurance and also the tin. And then for the tires, you bought this package. And for BlueMirror, we just keep it simple. You buy the car, and that's everything. You're only paying for the car. We will give you everything else. So.
And how long have you been with BlueMirror?
A little over 2 years now.
Great company, a lot of great people there.
Oh my gosh, internally, it's pretty cool to see like the kind of talent that we have, and for my role, a lot of times I'm like the quarterback for the relationship, and so what I can do is I can bring in some of these resources from BlueMirror to meet some of my partners and customers, depending on what the situation is, right? Are they looking for this specific custom integration, or do they need actually like some help, identifying this threat or attack? I can bring in some of the good BlueMirror help there, and it's pretty cool.
Want to show your love for discipline, inspiration, and the Joey Pinz podcast? Now's your chance. Introducing the brand new Joey Pinz merch store, where style meets discipline. Choose from premium apparel, cozy hoodies, stylish hats, durable bags, and your new favorite coffee mug, all featuring the iconic Joey Pinz logo. Perfect for podcast fans, discipline enthusiasts, or as unique gifts for friends and family. Every purchase supports the Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations podcast, helping us continue to inspire greatness and promote positive change. Visit joeypinz.com/store today and wear your discipline proudly. Joey Pinz merch. Wear it, share it, and live it. How is AI affecting Sims and BlueMirror?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest way, two things. First, attackers are using AI, so that's unfortunately just never going to happen, never going to go away. And so because of that, like the tools need to be pretty darn, ahead of that, basically one step ahead. But number two, we're kind of going back to solve that whole issue of not needing 14 security analysts just to run one tool. And so AI is really going to cut down the amount of techs and engineers you need, but additionally, it'll cut down the amount of time that you have to spend just looking at an alert. Hey, is this a true positive? What do I need to do to look into this? Good AI is going to have the historical data of 1 million of these same alerts, and they're going to be able to kind of identify, help you identify, is this a P1 that you need to take seriously or no? So.
Should all MSPs have a SIM?
No, not necessarily, which is funny. I know you're probably surprised by that answer as someone who sells a SIM.
Right.
I would say it's not necessarily something you want to start with. There's other areas you should hit first, and ideally, a SIM is enriched by more data sources. So as much data as you can send into BlueMirror, you're going to get better results out of it, better alerts, better value. So an MSP that's not quite starting off, they're not going to get a ton of value out of BlueMirror, but once you get just a little bit past that, that's where it makes sense to start looking into a SIM, especially because it's going to be a requirement for a lot of the clients you're looking to access. Maybe you have this client one, but they have a PCI compliance requirement, or you're trying to get into healthcare, so they've got HIPAA. Well, you would need a SIM at some point, and so BlueMirror would allow you to unlock access to those clients.
So, Blake, I'm a former MSP. I started in the 90s,
cool.
And I was working way too hard.
Yeah.
14, 16-hour days. And it's a young man like yourself, but I was putting exercise in the behind and not eating properly, long nights. Next thing I know, I'm in front of the doctor. She tells me I'm at 340 pounds.
Wow.
I had gained all this terrible weight.
Wow.
46-inch waist. I'm now at 32. So she says to me, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. My daughter was just born. Scared the life out of me.
Yeah.
Driving home, punching the steering wheel. So I'm not going to let this happen. So next 6-7 months, lost about 130 pounds and kept it off. And people ask me how. And I always say, there's no secret, just discipline, right? Motivation, focus, willpower. How does discipline play a role in your life?
Good question. First off, congratulations. Oh my God. I mean, that's incredible. Yeah, seriously, congratulations.
Yes.
And that would be like I wish I had a story like that to answer your question, because it's discipline,
Yes.
right? Every day, just, God, even getting out of bed, sometimes it takes a little bit of discipline,
Yes.
right? You've got a long day ahead of you. Yeah, the bed is nice and warm. You do not want to go handle that stuff.
Yeah.
Even that alone takes discipline. But some of the other examples, I mean, a lot of my hobbies require discipline.
Yes, they do. Bull riding?
Yeah, bull riding is a good example of discipline, because first off, it's not something you should be doing, but it's something a lot of times you do not want to do. You get on that
Right.
bull's back, and you have to willingly sit down, strap your hand in there. It takes discipline to, number one, even get there in the first place, but then to nod your head. The powerlifting aspect is crucial.
Yes.
I can somewhat relate to your story, because cutting weight that's one of the harder things that you'll do, because you miss it and you're done. In a team sport like powerlifting, you just shot your entire team in the foot because you couldn't do
Right.
it. You gave in, and you started eating, and you started drinking, and you just didn't do the cardio required, and next thing you know, your entire team lost because you didn't have discipline.
Wow.
So anyways, it's pretty much important for everything I do. Just like all of us, it's what keeps me, in a remote company, actually getting up and doing the work when I don't have a manager right next to me, seeing me at my cubicle. Like, no, and nobody's watching, but I'll still do the 50, 60-hour work weeks.
Very cool. Blake, thanks so much for your time. Great meeting you. Anybody watching or listening, how can they get in touch with you?
Great. Well, first off, come check out BlueMirror. I'm one of the MSP sellers at BlueMirror. So come check out all of our booths at events. We've got good websites and webinars and stuff like that. But at any point, you can find my Instagram for my fish tank at $2Discus.
Huh.
And it's very viral on Instagram, so you won't have trouble finding it. But that's how you guys will know that I wasn't lying about any of the fish.
How about LinkedIn?
But LinkedIn, yeah, you can find me, Blake Myers, on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And that's going to be a good way to connect with me. Additionally, I'm on a couple of bull riding social media pages, Facebook pages and stuff like that. So if you searched Blake Myers on Facebook, you'd probably see me riding Black Frost and Cash and Pain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blake, thank you so much for your time this week. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you.
Be well. Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources, and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.